Fine.
Welcome to the Pipestone, regular scheduled Pipestone County Commission meeting. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. September 10, regular meeting of the Pipestone County Commissioners, and in attendance are Luke Johnson, Doug Nagel, Dan Wildermuth, myself, Dallas Roskamp, Chris Hollingsworth has other commitments to this morning. Also our Steve Ewing, our county administrator, and Gary Minnis, our Pipestone County HRA. Any adjustments to the agenda?
Chairman, I have one addition to the agenda, item 4 on the consent agenda. I have additional hospital warrants this morning, a copy of which was in your packet. Amount is $40,358.21. $40,358.21 hospital warrants.
Thank you. Any other?
Mr. Chair, that one adjustment, I'll move the agenda.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll second.
Thank you, Doug. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried. And the consent agenda, approve the minutes of 8/27/24, approve auditors warrants of 8/30/24, 9/6/24, 9/10/24, approve commissioner warrants, approve hospital warrants. First one of $347,296.90. Next one of $40,358.21. And approve the treasurer's report of August 2024.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
Thank you, Luke. Is there a support?
I will second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That carried. Mr. Nick Bergman. Morning, Nick.
Morning. All right, first up for me would be project updates, and my first update is actually on the second page. In a little bit, I'm gonna ask to approve final payment for the seal coats from this year. We got all that stuff back from the contractor. And then last update would be the County Road 17 project. We finished that up last week, so. Next for me would be request to purchase some motor grader tires. Got a couple bids here. Low bid was WW Tire out of Bryant, South Dakota. These are both state bid prices. They bid the exact same on the tires, but the WW Tire would offer us trade-in on our old caps, whereas Pumps wasn't offering anything, so I recommend going with a low bid of WW Tire.
Entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there support?
Second.
Thanks, Doug. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried. Motor grader tires.
Next up then would be the final payment to Morris Seal Coat and Trucking. Original contract amount was $399,932.59. Final work certified was $397,024.76. So they actually came in a little bit under the bid. So that doesn't happen very often, but we'll take it. So final payment amount, would that be releasing retainage and everything would be $19,851.24.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the final payment of $19,851.24.
Thank you. Is there a support for that?
Second.
Any discussion? Everything went well with that, didn't it?
Yep. No issues.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
All right, then next up for me would be budget meeting follow-up. The last presentation, there was a number of items that I needed to follow up. But listed here. First up would be the plow truck. that we had in for $325,000. It had 10,000 over 10,000 hours on it, but, I wasn't sure on the miles, and the miles, it's 240,000 miles. It's not, we typically go, I think a little over 300,000, for miles, so, it's the hours that was more of a concern, but, in rethinking this, I think I would like to delay that a year, but next year we have a motor grader in there, so I'd actually like to switch that, leave the dollar amount the same, but, call it half of a plow truck and half a motor grader. We don't get hit quite as hard next year, so. First comment, next item there, be the lawnmower for 18,000. At the beginning of the year, it had 533 hours, now it's got 633 hours. Drug and alcohol screening, I had budgeted 2,000, but, I think Doug pointed out that a lot of new hires, that number's higher, so we could drop that down, so I plan on putting that down to 1,500. I could go a little bit lower if you want, but I just thought that was probably decent, better than 2,000 anyway, so. Next up, professional services, I had 15,500 in there. 10,000 I think would be better after reviewing that, so. Professional services in the construction account. So that budget report said that it was like 208,000, but we ran a report and it was actually $72,127.85. I don't know where that came from in that big report, but, sorry, 2023 was that $72,000 figure. 2024 was a little over 51,000, so, I think 60,000 is more in line there. Stone Arch Bridge budget accounts, payments are coming out of 13,340, 6621, and the receipts are going into 13,340, 5239. I didn't go back and look it up because I was fairly confident in thinking. I believe that we did not know about that. No, that was being funded at the time I submitted my budget. So I don't think you'll see that in either account. The revenues will be higher than budgeted but so will the expenses, but it'll offset itself. That's a reimbursable. So. Next item I had for follow-up was investment earnings. I budgeted that at 0. I changed that to 15,000. That should have been 15,000. What I did is I offset my levy by that, but I forgot to show it here, but so it's fine now. I need to, that shouldn't be 0. That should be the 15,000. So I fixed that.
That's 15,000 plus, right?
To the plus, yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And then land rent, I see I had 30,000 in the budget for that. But I increased that to 35. That bid was higher than I had expected. Next, or the last item I had for follow-up was miscellaneous other revenues. The initial budget was $5,000. 2024 actual was 11,600 so far. This is mainly overweight permit fees. It's hard telling what we're gonna get for those. Like, they're becoming more popular on overlay projects. People have the newer updated trucks with the more axles that are spaced right, so. They're qualifying for those, so we're getting a lot of fees for those, so. That's been a couple years in a row now that's been happening, so I increased my budget from 5,000 to 10,000 on that one, so.
So with the additional axles, then there's not road damage?
I would say there. I don't know how to answer that.
$1,000,000 question.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's supposed to offset.
Yeah, you're
I don't know the exact, I couldn't say for sure if it's, who wins on that deal. I'm not sure. It's in statute that this is allowed though, and that's what we're following.
right. But I mean, if it does cause damage, the 10,000 is hardly gonna cover the cost of
Yeah, if it costs over 10,000 in damage, yeah, then it would be worth it. So would we permit these though? We'll restrict them, like we don't let them go on these, small city side streets. Are not built like our roads. If we have a strength issue on a road, that FWD testing, you remember, about every year we do that. We'll use that. If that says it's not very tough, we don't allow them on those roads. For example, our County Road 13 project, that was gravel. And then when we were building that up, we didn't allow them on that bottom lift when it was only a couple inches. We didn't want that damage. So we take that into account when we allow this. So I don't know. Does that answer your question? I don't, okay. It's a lot of rambling with not a definite yes or no, but I mean, that's how we view it, I guess, and how we've been handling it. So.
Thank you.
Conditions make a lot of difference too on that. On a good dry gravel road, you can't hardly wreck them, but if they're wet, then,
Oh. True. Yep. These are on paved roads.
yeah, but same theory, I would assume, on paved roads.
Yep. A good road will handle it a lot better than a bad one, so. So that's all I had marked for budget updates. Is there anything else I'm missing, or does that answer the questions we had at the last meeting?
I guess just one comment, Nick, and as we're getting all of our numbers in, the levy is getting a little scary for us, a little more than what we were anticipating. So I appreciate or understand your rationale, like for the plow truck to move that money over for a grader. And again, the same thing at that lawnmower, and I realize it's 18,000. It's not, gonna make a huge difference. But since I'm only putting 100 hours on that more this year, if we can stretch, and again, hours, but we don't know what the condition of it is, what kind of shape it's in and so forth. That's up to you.
Yeah, it's
Go
got a
ahead.
couple mechanical issues, I guess, but
Yeah.
I mean, we can.
So my thought is, and again, as you know, by the end of September, we have to set to exceed. But when it comes down the final push to shove come December, we might ask you to tighten your belt up a little bit on some of it. What do you guys think?
You have to see how it shakes out.
We'll look at everything.
Yeah.
Look at it all.
We don't want to hinder your operation by any means, but yeah, it's the numbers are getting scary for me.
Yep. Okay, how about I'll keep that in mind, and then I'll try to have some solutions if that's something that we feel needs to happen. Is that, I guess it'd have to happen at the next meeting to
Right.
have that figured out by then,
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Just know that we will have some latitude when it comes to the final budget.
Yep.
Yeah, you got till December.
Got till December.
oh,
This is just a preliminary.
You can go lower.
okay.
Yeah.
You'll set it for this now, but
Right.
just so I know it might need to dial, yep, got it.
Yeah, so I'm in, and well, we don't vote on the preliminary anyway, but I support what you're doing here, but when we get down to the final, we might have to do some trimming.
Yep, that's fine. I'll keep that in mind. We'll talk about that internally too, so we're kind of ready for it and can hopefully help come up with a solution, so.
Mr. Chairman, Nick and I can sit down too. I want to go over it too, because I had some changes for insurances and work comp and things like that. We have to take into
Gotcha.
account too that
Yeah.
work comp did go up substantially this year for all areas. Property and casualty remained the same and slightly lower. And auto went up a little bit, but work comp took a
Okay.
big hit.
I'm surprised the property stayed the same because
Yeah, it
for
was,
individuals,
that
it's
bad.
sure going up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mine went through the roof at home too, like, geez, I've never had, well, I did have one wind claim once, but I mean, generally I'm pretty good, so I was kind of surprised to see my increase, but.
And of course, they're blaming it on, hail and more frequent rain events.
Hurricanes in Florida.
Ignoring the big CEO bonuses and
Yeah,
Whatever.
right.
next wasn't too bad on work comp. It was just on about $800 increase. That wasn't too bad at all. That.
Any other budget questions? Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I answered all the.
Thank you for getting back to us with this.
Yeah. Next for me then would be, maintenance updates. Over the last month, we've been hauling gravel, doing some patchwork. We were able to get a different type of mix. It's called sand mix, Doug knows stuff, so. Don't always get that, but it's doesn't have the big rock in it, so you can level out a lot of your weird gaps in roads or bumps or something. I know County Road 17 in Edgerton by Fives had some pretty big nasty gaps, and we were able to work on those, so. Also, we got a new blade operator started, so been working with him over the last month too, so.
Which area?
The Northwest.
Ruton?
No, like the Pipestone blade.
excuse me.
West.
Oh, yeah, right out of Pipestone.
Yeah, out of
Does
Pipestone.
the Northwest.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
Yep, so. Um. Then the last thing I had to mention, I've been contacted a couple times about, the utility project in Edgerton. They dug up that street by DeBoer's and then they, plan all along was, they milled off part of the surface. The plan was to leave the bituminous down. Over this winter, they would fill up the trenches that they had dug up. And then next year we would overlay it, but I've been contacted numerous times about filling it all this year. I don't know if you've heard anything.
Been contacted many times.
Been contacted many times. Okay, so more than me. So I just went ahead and I got a quote on it. And then I took the price difference from that and, well, in Ruthven this year, we did a small job. So that had a higher price on it, so that would somewhat show what I would expect to get for prices on this job. That was $100.76 per ton up there. This, they're quoting $162.80 per ton. So if you take that difference, times the tonnage down there, that's just about $45,000 extra it costs to do it this year. They're saying, well, soils are more gravelly down there, so the trenches wouldn't settle as much as normal, and well, I still think there's a high probability of settlement, but I don't think it'd be as bad as what we normally see, so. I guess I didn't plan on changing our course of action, but I'm open to, I mean, what have you heard, I guess?
So what is
do
our
you-
official course of action?
the plan all along has been to leave it down, milled down, let the trenches settle out a little bit through one freeze thaw and then next year pave it.
Sounds good to me.
What is there, Nick, like a 2-inch
Yep.
drop off or something?
Yep, edge of the curb.
Just fill in a little bit on that edge or make it a little better?
Yeah, it is.
They,
They
I
did that.
haven't been through there, but they told me they were going to like make ramps that we'd have to mill out later,
That's what I mean.
which that's not a big deal, so.
Is there sewer access and stuff too that would be sticking up?
Nope, they're flush. What you can do with those is I told them, I said, just mount them flush now and we'll just put an adjusting ring on
Riser
them.
on them?
You can put like a 2-inch riser on them. That's pretty standard, so.
What is the difference between the base coat and heard it called the wear coat? There's different,
Yeah, I think the
formulated
technical
differently,
term
aren't
is
they?
wear and non-wear, but
Wear and non-wear
I
is
know
the
what-
official? Okay.
yep. Um,
So what they got on there now is non-wear, whatever you go.
I'm not sure what they filled their trenches with, and I'm really not sure what the old stuff is, that might be non-wear. I assume it's non-wear, but I couldn't say for sure. I didn't look it up. It's milled, so it's gonna be rough or rougher than, like a finished product, obviously, so.
How
Yeah.
long this stretch is it?
Block
I'd
and a
call it a
half.
block and a half, I guess. It's from, County Road 1. up
County
to-
Road, County Road.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
But some people are worried about, they're gonna continue the project next year, so they're gonna have a joint every time, but
The joint wall.
somebody told me they should wait till it's all done and do it all. Ain't gonna wait, that ain't gonna happen.
So I can add a little bit to that. I met with the school on last week. And they have that project coming up there. And they're gonna be, possibly might have to dig into our street for the sewer. All their loads of material coming out and in are gonna be turning onto our street. So we had planned to do the whole road up to County Road 9 next year, but I talked to them and said, yeah, we can wait another year on that or so.
Be a waste of money if you
Yeah.
overlay the whole thing and.
And then it
Tear
gets
it all
tore
up
up,
again.
right? So I told them we'd stop there. Then a couple of days later, the city called me and said that they're looking at the sewer in that middle section. And they're not sure if that needs to be completely redone or not. So I said, well, we'll just push pause on that whole, you know, everything north of that south area that's tore up now, cause like I'd really hate to overlay it and then it all gets dug back up right away, so. So they're gonna get back to me, but we're kind of on hold with the rest of that, but we have enough other paving in the area. We can still do that south block and a half next year either way, so.
And just the price differences makes a lot of difference on the
Yeah,
66 to 100. That's,
yeah. Well, no, okay. So 100 is the top end of what I would expect to pay with our project, but the quote was 162.80.
yeah.
So the
that's a lot
difference
of
is like
difference.
$62
That's
a
a lot of
ton.
difference.
Yeah, so it's like 45,000 extra to have it paved now versus maybe it be in May of next year, you know, so we're not talking.
That'll
very
help
much.
explain to some people why we're not doing it.
Yeah,
It's gonna save us $45,000.
yeah, we
Right off the
estimate,
top.
but yeah.
So,
Yeah. Now, is it possible a plow hits the curb and chips it? I guess, but I mean, that's a lot less than $45,000, so. So, okay, I will leave that alone then. We'll just proceed
Thanks,
as planned,
thanks.
so.
Jill will explain it all in the paper, so.
That being said, I guess that's all I had for now.
The DOT is coming at 10:30.
Yep, they're coming at 10:30 to present. I'm not part of that, but I'll try to make it back by then in case there's any questions that I could help out with.
One other question I've gotten a lot of is the signs on Highway 75. That they took them all down and didn't replace them.
Yep. I reached out to the local maintenance person. He passed me on to the sign engineer and I think I've emailed him and left him a voicemail. Haven't heard back yet. So,
I can ask this lady though too. Would she have any
yep,
knowledge?
she
of
might,
that?
yeah, that's a good one. She might know.
I got it
Yeah.
written on my
Yeah.
agenda already, so.
Yeah. I think, Bill, did you do a little homework on that? The signs, yeah.
Well,
Did you?
one of my reporters did.
Okay.
They, now when you come from Pipestone, you don't know.
Why did they take? Why did they take the old ones down if it cost too much to replace them?
They uses Google Map. Well, I mean, they do.
Everybody is.
Everybody does.
It must go north too, cause I had someone
All the
trying
way
to,
up to Verdi.
Yeah.
Somebody said
I had someone trying to get to Ward. And they ended up in like Benton or almost or something.
For the sign.
Yeah, right. So, it's not just down that way, it's everywhere, I guess, so.
Good, we got a question for Megan.
Yep,
There you go.
yep, you're probably not gonna be the first one to ask her, so she might answer you're waiting for, so. So,
See if she did her homework or not.
right. Other than that, that's all I had for today. Any other questions for me?
Anybody else have any questions for Nick?
All right, sounds good. I'm
Thank you,
gonna
Nick.
head down to the store arch and I'll try to be back by 10:30. So.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Mr. Sandy.
One demand.
You're on.
What do you need to know? Basically, budget. Believe for a lot of the things that deal with the law firm and expenses, the general aspect, I kept it at 2%. I've done that traditionally the last several years, try to keep that low. Last year, we went 5% for salary increases. I asked Steve what they were thinking, you guys were thinking, and what he was proposing this year. He said 10, so I went 10% for the salary increases for me. And I built in for Destiny, but now she's gone. And now we have Aaron. So we're gonna advertise for another attorney again. So the budget I submitted, I think I had built in there 60,000 for a new hire, like we started Aaron with at 60,000. I'd like to increase that. I'd like to increase that so maybe we can get someone with 1 or 2 years of experience, so we don't start with totally new. Get someone that has a little bit of experience underneath their feet, so I'd like to, go up from what I put the salaries at for a new hire up to 70 from the county. And then with the law firm, we can be pretty competitive and get a little bit more interest in coming here. But, so that'd be my only difference, and it's I know it's a lot of money, it really is. But it's a sign of the times. It really is a sign of the times. And, all of you sit on the hospital board, and they had that big sign up a couple of years back after COVID when everybody was, even the lowest paying job at the hospital was gonna be $20 an hour. It's just the way it's going now. Salaries are basically going crazy. So that's what I would propose. The only thing different from what I submitted to you that I would ask you to accept is let us get a new hire at, start them at 70 county-wise.
Percentage wise, the new hire, the county work is the majority of her work, isn't it? Or she does quite, how much percentage does she do for the firm?
For Aaron right now,
Well, when you bring your new hire,
basically I need him to learn the criminal justice system in Pipestone County. So I would anticipate for the first 5-6 months, they're doing 100% county work.
that was my point. Yeah.
Yep, they're doing 100%. We are not having them do any private work. So there's no billables coming in from that person as a part-time OOB attorney. So like Erin's been with us now for 5 weeks. She hasn't touched a private thing, other than maybe sitting in on one real estate closing with me. That's been it. And that was a 20-minute deal, so. Yeah, so it's, right now she's 100% county, and she's gonna remain 100% county until I get her to feel comfortable with moving forward, so. I mean, even Destiny, when we really figured it out, she was doing 75%, 80% of her time for the entire almost 4 years she was with us doing county work.
We're not seeing a decrease in demand for the county work.
No, you're not. You are seeing in the last couple of years, which is surprising, is that, I measure certain things by how many complaint reports are filed in the sheriff's office, and they're sequencing in numbers. And we had a period of time there where every year was over 10,000, 11,000 where they received calls that they had to put in. Last year, I believe it topped out less than 8. And the year before that was in that range too. And this year, we have just hit, I don't have any of my files with me from upstairs. They're all up there. I believe that the ICR numbers for the sheriff's office now through the end of August are only in the mid 4,000s. So you're seeing a decrease in the number of calls coming into the sheriff's office, which you would think would correlate to a decrease in the number of crimes committed that have to be prosecuted. But it doesn't necessarily do that. So it just means that the officers are not running here, there, and everywhere all the time because all these calls are coming in. But the amount of crime that we have has been maintaining fairly consistently. Destiny, a couple of years back, she was running 130 open criminal cases, which was, I was flabbergasted because I never ran probably more than 45 or 50 in all the years, the 16 years that I was actively doing the adult criminal prosecution. That's just adult, not the juveniles, not other matters, or the child protection cases or stuff, but just the adult ones. When she left a week and a half ago, I grabbed all of her files and went through them, and she whittled that down to about 50 something. So over time, she was able to whittle it down and, take care of matters and do the trials. She tried for 4 years. She tried a lot of cases. It was, it was on average of maybe 2.5 a year, which is unheard of out here. 1 a year is about the average of that. And she piggybacked 2 felonies. I mean, 2 weeks after, one after the other, a criminal vehicular homicide and a criminal sexual conduct case in 2 weeks, and got convictions on both of them. So, but yeah, she did whittle it back to where it's more manageable. Yeah, you got, I mean, ask me anything, I'm an open book.
Does the current budget numbers have somebody? You had another person in here already, but you'd like it a little higher to get somebody more experienced?
Basically, when I submitted that budget,
You were figuring on three.
Destiny not had given her
Yeah.
notice, so I was figuring
You
three.
figure on three, yeah.
So you have, part of that is her salary, which would have been for next year. We had 50,000, but you increase it to 60,000 for the new hire, Aaron Jameson. So I believe in the salary aspect of it, I probably still have, I mean, there. This one. I took Destiny out of there, but from last year's, if I would have had Destiny in there, I would have had, probably, she would have been almost up to 70,000 anyhow. But I took her out not knowing where we were gonna go, so my budget proposal had 167, I believe, 059 for salary. Cause I only knew about Aaron, I wasn't really planning, I believe. Cause I'm just looking at this sheet that I would have like submitted, which has the salaries and all the various breakdowns of the benefits. So I don't believe I built Destiny into there. Did I, Steve?
I think we left it for hire. I don't believe it was specifically listed for the person.
Okay, salaries, 227. Okay, I built 60,000 in there, cause
Yep.
I have salaries at 227,059.
Mhm.
And what I had proposed for Aaron and me was 167,059 would be the salaries for the two of us.
Elaine, do you think that her compensation package had anything to do with her decision to leave?
No,
Because we obviously, we pride ourselves in taking care of our employees.
I'm well aware that, no, nothing about the county work was Destiny's decision to leave. She found her passion. She liked prosecuting. And on the private side of it, he wasn't comfortable. So her intent is, when she gets back from her travels in Europe, is to look for work in a larger full-time county attorney's office where she can just. That's what her goal is. So. Yeah, nothing with the county, nothing with the compensation from the county, none of that came into play with her. It was the private aspect of it.
We certainly want to be fair with all of our employees, and obviously with you being her supervisor, we need to rely on your opinion.
Yeah.
As far as, so, no, I support that completely.
Yeah, you guys have always been more than fair.
How was Aaron's bar exam?
She feels good about it.
She feels good about it?
She feels good about it.
October, right? Was before she'll go?
She will find out, here in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, next week.
And then the official swearing in ceremony for the new attorneys takes place in. So. I'm not saying I have my fingers crossed. I'm confident that she's
gonna
passed the
pass.
bar and she will become a full-fledged county attorney. And just soon as she gets that swearing in ceremony, I'll be back in front of you with the oath of office, getting the signatures, so that we can get her name on the letterhead instead of as a student practitioner, as assistant county attorney.
Thank you.
Oh, there's just a test. Yeah. Take it. You only gotta get 70%. It's a D, you know? D minus.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Sandy?
Well, if not, they got court cases scheduled. Like I said, I grabbed all of Destiny's old files, so as I work Aaron into this, I'm going back into the criminal prosecution, so. I gotta figure out what's new.
Do you work through Carrie for your new hire, or you do that yourself?
We do it ourselves, but once we get someone hired, then basically it's a process of working with Terry to get them on the county stuff.
Although,
Yeah. Yeah,
Because,
we do the interviewing, we do the advertisement, all that comes through the law firm.
yeah, because they're your employee.
Yes, they're our
Yes.
employee. So yeah, we're gonna put another ad out there. It happens.
Well, good luck with that.
Well, I think you're gonna be talking to my wife in a little while and she won't let me retire.
Well, you gotta hire somebody that's your replacement then. We won't let you retire until you hire a replacement.
You look at the history of your firm though, your senior people don't normally retire very early out of that firm. So you got another.
You know, my intent would be not to perpetrate that cycle of abuse. Yeah, Jim made it past 70. Scott's now 71, I believe.
Yeah.
They don't retire. You know, I was just looking up something the other day. I hadn't realized that Tom Houselock had retired from Rock County, the Land Records Office. I don't know why. And I looked it up and I thought, he was 68 and he retired 3 years ago. I didn't realize he was 68, number one. And number two is, I had no clue that he was not still the director of the Land Records Office. 3 years after the fact.
Yeah.
I gotta get out more often.
He's doing local assessing now.
Townships.
Yeah, for townships.
Yeah. So. Okay, well, if you had nothing more for me, I'm gonna go upstairs.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, you had sent, Steve, you had sent that, the agreement on the joint powers,
Yes.
Yes.
got in the Adult Mental Health Consortium.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to look it over?
I did look it over, you know, we had looked this over a while back.
This should have been an update.
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
That's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, Ann Goering put that together for the consortium and we kind of felt with her track history with the counties that it would be pretty solid for us.
Yeah, you know what I remember about Ann is she's got an extensive history. I think she was in the AG's office for a while. She was in the Department of Human Services for a while. She's kind of a go-to guru in the state for a lot of things like this. And if she put it together, you know, you pretty well can trust that it's going to be a neutral, really, really well-written agreement.
Well, we've got 17 other county attorneys that need to give their blessing to it as well yet. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But yes, I'm anticipating it's going to go well.
Well, you know, you hear it through Southwest Health and Human Services, through the 6, 7 offices they deal with. And all the county attorneys have a different way of looking at things.
Yep.
And a different approach to things. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, you're good to go with that as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
Put that on the agenda for the 24th. That's all right.
Well, have a good morning.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Expect him to have time to look at it.
Yeah, that's
great.
glad he did.
Gary, you wanna jump in? Personnel?
Okay, update. The highway worker position that we still have open, we've all of a sudden got 3 applicants, 2 of which have CDLs. And between 8:30 and 9:02, like just all bang, bang, really weird. So we'll start interviewing for that. The engineering technician position, we have 2 strong applicants. This afternoon, we're gonna meet with the personnel committee and discuss some options for that. The jailer dispatcher position, we've completed our interviews. We decided to give an opportunity to everyone who applied for that role. And we do have 2 strong candidates and yet another potential meeting with the personnel committee on this one. When we have 2 strong candidates, it's just harder to give up a strong applicant. And then the EMT position, the full-time position for Heather Spurl, who left early this week. We have 6 applicants, 4 of which are internal part-time candidates, so we will start interviewing for that as well. That's what I have for you
Okay.
today.
The Troy Mancy thing is your
Yeah, we
baby?
can take that right now too.
Your baby?
That's all part of HR personnel admin.
I don't
too.
have it in front of me, but I kind of remember. Um.
I
So,
can start with this one if you want, Carrie.
yes, that's.
This goes back to our contract. Troy Manzi, when we was in his 5th year of service with the county. And we changed to bring all the vacation periods together, 0 to 6 years. So he was gonna be in his 5th year and he didn't get this. So we wanted to do an agreement with him that he would be able to accumulate in the 5th year of this to make him whole. So he didn't have to wait another year and lose the time. So we ran this by our labor attorneys and the union, and they all agreed to it, signed it. So we'll bring it to the board. So he will, at this point, be grandfathered in to get his 1.25 working days after 5 years of service.
This is his second term of 5 years. He was,
No, this is his first term of 5 years.
What did it say before?
he worked for the county before he moved to
He
Jackson.
worked for
didn't
Martin County years ago.
Didn't he work for the Pipestone County before?
Part-time.
Was just
Part-time.
part-time then? Okay.
What did
That
the, what
sounds
did the
right.
old contract say for like 8 years and 10 years? What did it say?
Those were all the same. The only change was the 0 through 5 changing to 0 through 6.
0 to 6,
It was 0.
0 to
It
5.
was 0 through 5 before.
Correct. Yep,
And he's in his 6th
So
year.
oh, he's in his 6th.
right.
But then wasn't this? We did the contract, apparently nobody caught this.
No, it was missed. It was missed specifically on him.
Yeah.
It was total, it was inadvertent. There was no malice attended, you know.
No, I,
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that.
Yeah,
but
we wouldn't do that.
We did the contract, they agreed to it, but
Yes,
this was.
This person was harmed
Right.
basically by that
And it's
change.
just this person.
Right.
just this person.
And,
He's the
and
only.
actually, we had talked about it.
We did. It was, I checked my notes
There
too.
were
We did
notes.
discuss it and it didn't make it to the contract and we, you know, had we done it right, we'd have put an addendum in there for Troy Manzi.
Okay.
So,
But it was agreed to when we
yes,
talked.
yeah, it was agreed by all parties when we were doing our negotiations. You're right.
I just have one question on number 3. When it says that the accrual will increase to 10, wouldn't it be remain at 10? Since 1.25 is 10.
When did he go to 6 years? That might make the difference.
On May 1st, apparently.
Yeah, that's his anniversary date.
Mhm.
So the, yeah,
But I mean, if it is accrual will remain at 1.25 working day per month until he reaches 7 years of service,
Right.
which will be May 1st of next year.
Yeah, then he'll go to 10 hours.
But 1.25 working days is 10 hours, so it won't increase. It'll remain at 10 hours.
right.
Cause he'll be getting 10 this year per the addendum. Or the memorandum of agreement, and he will continue to get 10s because he'll be in years 7 through 10.
Right, he's getting the
Right.
benefit now, but he will be specifically on 7 through 10.
Right,
listed
but it
at
won't
1.25.
increase because it'll be 10 currently and
Right.
it'll remain at 10.
That's probably my fault.
So technically, it shouldn't say increase to, it'll remain at 10.
The intent of that statement was that he's not getting an extra year of accrual that follows all the way down his tenure. It's only for this first period.
Right,
Right,
It have been written more concisely.
but I guess if.
the
they're-
understanding is still the same.
I don't know if it's gonna be worth blowing
Not
up the
gonna
whole
change
document
anything.
for that.
Right, but I mean, whatever, if that's what. they-
Understand your,
I would move to approve this.
thank you. Is there support? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That's carried. Appreciate your attention to detail, Luke.
Have any other questions for me?
You have any other information for us or wisdom or
There's,
something?
there's always more information. I think that's the update for today.
Okay, good luck on your hires,
Thanks.
interviews. Thanks, Gary.
Let me go grab Bill, see if he's available. How's that
Okay.
sound? Your talk.
Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
Bill. I brought a couple of quotes today for the service contract, like and the definitions, like the spyware or whatever kind of definitions to protect for the firewall, ongoing maintenance. We have two firewalls and they're in a failover mode, so the other one takes over. And that's why we have two. We've been in that situation once here about 20, but where we didn't have to, maybe a little longer ago than that. When they break, then everything's broken. So having two is the only way to go. The cost of this just continues to creep up. I'm just amazed at where we're at. I think we're about $800 over where we were last year, just on the threat defense. It is what it is, I guess. Any other questions about it or what?
Bill, can you explain, is this all software? Is there hardware involved or
So
we buying equipment
it's
or
a
what are we
maintenance
buying?
contract for the hardware that we own, and then it's the software pieces that make it happen. So this is the annual, every year, and the annual maintenance and the annual cost of the threat definitions.
Is this in the budget for this year?
It is, it is.
I'll
Even
make the
though-
motion to approve.
Okay, is there support? And the 29 is the addition of the next two pages, right?
Correct.
24 and 5.
Even though the cost is kind of a bummer, the cost to not have is worse.
And again, just continue to explore other options, but I also realize there are no other options, so.
We're kind of locked into this.
Yeah.
Decided to go with Cisco, and then we get them through a partner, so we do get a good deal on this, but yeah, it's quite expensive.
Mhm. How long does this last? Is this a
Annual.
multi-year? Just an
Annual.
annual again?
Yep.
We'll do it again next year.
About the cost of the hardware and the 1 year, so it's like
Yeah.
the hardware is nothing to them. They want to sell this,
Right.
the definitions of the ongoing costs.
Well, and we actually don't buy it, we're leasing it, because it's just.
That's what it feels like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Bill? The motion on the floor, all in favor, say aye.
Right.
All opposed, same sign. Carried.
You.
Thanks, Bill. Are you Susan? Oh, would you like to present? We're a little early, but
Good morning, Susan.
Good morning.
Morning.
welcome.
I'm sorry.
Swag? Okay, what page are we on? Still looking.
No, see, there's the other. Must be in another section. What's it under? Culture? No. 80.
Yeah, 501. Page
Ooh,
84.
this swag.
Yeah, we looked at that scaffolding for a while, didn't we?
Walked underneath it for a while.
I thank everybody for their patience in getting that done. It's fast.
Hey, the floor is yours.
All right, well, thanks for having me here, and the Pipestone County Historical Society really would like to extend our thanks to the county for their support of our mission, programs and projects that we have. I do have for you a request for continued funding. Asking for, it's roughly a 5% budget increase. Last year, we were able to, it wasn't the first intern that the museum ever had, but it's the first in a long time. So we have started a new internship program. It went very, very well this summer. Do it again next year. We also this year, to finish out our year here, we are working on security for the museum or the historical society, because that doesn't just mean the one museum building. We own 5 historic properties, and this right now entails more cameras and kind of modernizing eyes-on situation, both inside in public space, exterior of all the building. I know you guys understand. We've also this year been working to, we're building a brand new website. We do have a website. We've had a web presence for quite a while, but we are updating it and to make it modern and a lot more accessible, meaning you can your way around it a little easier. We have a lot of content on our website right now, but it's a little clunky. So the website is one way that we really serve our public that can't physically come or come to our programs throughout the county. We are getting a lot of access on our website, and then we've also opened increasing traffic as we post presentations. So that's all. That's what we're finishing. I don't know, finishing. It's ongoing. We're working on this year, and then also this year have the Historical Society Board made the decision to go ahead with placing, or it's purchasing, the software and the platform, but Path Perfect software is the specific museum software that we use to track the collection, all the artifacts, and just an online version of that so that we can start to place the museum's collection online, searchable by the public wherever they are at whatever time. And that is another way that we are trying to reach accessible to everybody. The reason that we hold these treasures is for the public. So we are trying to make it available to everybody. One of the comments we often get is, why isn't everything on exhibit?
Don't have that much room, do you? Don't have that much room, do you?
We really are have rotating exhibits so that and it's not good for the artifact to be out on exhibit all the time if we're going to keep it. So we do have a large percentage of our collection is in storage at any one time. And so hoping to be able to place these viewing and even, even just an index of what we would have that would be helpful, but this is going to entail photography. And so we've started this process, and we've had our intern work on this summer. It was one of the great projects. We've started with the Chesley glass plate negative collection, which was a collection of 5x7 glass negatives that were donated to the museum in the 1980s. They are portraits of Pipestone County people for about, roughly 40 years of largely identified. There are a number that are not.
Because this Mr. Chesley was a professional photographer.
Correct. Yes. And he had a studio in Pipestone. He also had a traveling studio and traveled around for a while, but he was here as a business person. Are just amazing. So we were able to have them digitized a few years ago. And so this project is just ready for us to place them, as it's going to be our launch for our archive. And that was done largely by the intern this summer. So we're just wrapping that up and getting that out there.
So that's the first part that actually will have photos on?
Yes.
Okay.
It's, we'll be adding to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's a massive undertaking to put that many photos of whatever on. Cause I do it on a token website, and when it gets into tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands.
There are over 3,000 negatives in. So we're templates so that it's all the same, and we make sure that we're getting the same. That should launch here in the next month. So we'll definitely. For 2025, looking forward, we have been, for a while, we've been involved with a collaboration with the Minders Library and the Schools Library. Been trying to work together so we can better serve our collective audience on, more efficiently. So we are working right now on a collaboration in digitizing the county and making them available as well online. It's about a $90,000 project. We shopped around and we found a business that we'd like to go through. It is a business out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Large number of libraries and historic and digitizing the newspaper. They have a contract for the state of Iowa to do the digitizing. So we're very, price was actually at $90,000. Very good. So we've broken this down into a 4-phase project. And we are just starting with of time of the papers. And this includes newspaper, Pipestone County Star. It does include the Edgerton Enterprise, papers out of Woodstock, Holland, Jasper, and so we hold all these papers right now on microfilm, and the majority of this project will be digitizing the microfilm. Once that is completed, we'll go back and see there are some issues that we do not hold at the Historical Society, so we'll be attempting to round those up. And then also there are some papers that we have in our collection that have not been filmed. So we will, that's kind of the add-on, but the bulk, and we have 403 rolls of microfilm. Just amazing history of the county. It is not available anywhere online digitized. The Pipestone or the Minnesota Historical Society has a few issues of the are available, but So this project is going to be great. I'm very excited about it. We're working with both the libraries and but we're looking for more partners on this project. It's not only going to be fantastic for the Historical Society, it's great for the schools. They'll be able to research local information really at the great for people that don't live in Pipestone County anymore, but have a vested interest in the county. You know, even the county itself can then look back and more easily search.
Do you know how that search will work? Will you be able to make a request by date or by subject matter or by name or?
All of the above.
Oh, that's
So
gonna be fantastic.
it will have the search identification on it. You
Yep.
type in your search and it pops up.
Did you say it is going to be comprehensive of all of the issues, or do you have some gaps in the historical?
Well, as I said, we're going to be processing everything that we hold
Yep.
in microfilm, but there are some gaps in our collection, and we will address that
Yep, through the
once the
state.
bulk gets done. Yeah.
Very nice.
We decided to go with this company. It's called Advantage Archive because it is a completely public platform. So we could have done this through newspapers. Archives.com, there's several places, but they will put it behind their paywall. They would allow us to access it on our site. They would put it behind their payroll. That is not the route we want to go.
No, you want to get out there for the public's use.
That's an exciting upcoming
Mhm.
project. So in the last couple of years, we were approached by the Prairie Lands Library Association, the Southwest Minnesota State Library System. And they recognize us as an archive library. So this has opened up another avenue of funding. Some of their grant in the archival sense. And so we'll be approaching them about part of this as well. We've approached the Pipestone Area Foundation and want to get a portion of it up and running so that people can grasp the amazing benefit of this. So as I said, it will be a process, but working on that. With the library collaboration and being recognized by the library system, we have been able to, as I said, draw on some different grant revenues, but last fall, the three entities were able to get a Better Together grant from the Prairie Land Library Exchange, wanting local nonprofits and libraries to be working together, which is what we've been doing. And we were able to get a $100 grant to bring on to Pipestone County. Is an amazing historic speaker. He presented, we held this at the Pipestone area school. We invited Edgerton. They sent Edgerton, public and Christian, 5th grade, both came up for that. We invited Ruthven, they didn't attend. But we really were getting it out there for everybody. And he did a fabulous presentation for the school kids. It was geared for 5th grade. He presented on the fur trade, so he dressed up and he's got a whole stage of props. And yeah, I don't know if any of you were able to see him last. He did a school program during the day, and then he did a public program. And it's so fun to see the school kids bring their. That's the best. So we are hoping to be able to bring something like that again. Greatly received by the teachers. Pipestone ended up, because it was held in the auditorium and there was space, they ended up bringing several elementary classes, and some of the high school classes sat in as their schedule allowed. But we were just actually contacted by one of the Edgerton 5th grade teachers that said, "Hey, are you doing something like that again?" Because they thought it was fantastic also. Oh boy.
You start over.
I know, huh? All that. So we have a lot of plans. As you know, in the past few years, we have really, we've kind of put our heads down. We're planning, we are getting things done. We were renovating the exhibit galleries. 2 museum galleries have been renovated. The whole building's now on the LED lighting. We've also been pursuing state grant monies to rehabilitate the Ferris Grand, our largest historic building that we maintain. And we did actually, and I know you commented that the scaffolding was up all summer last summer, and we did complete that. And I'm actually just wrapping up the grant. It went a little long. We had a strange issue with the contractor in that he would not send a final bill. So, but we have paid him and I've sent it in. It's going to be complete. So it did set us back a year for the next phase of the project. And that the next phase is going to be to tuck point the remaining 3 facades. We are experiencing some water issues on the east wall. On both sides of the property. It is a shared wall. Clothier by Dawn's is our neighbor there, and she's had some water infiltration. We're getting water infiltration in the Masonic Lodge. And we continue as we can get this funding to address the maintenance and rehabilitation of this building.
Is that impacting the murals at all?
Well, yeah, it is. It is. So the
That's
murals
bummer.
have been damaged by the water infiltration. And so we had a number of years ago, what we needed was to have a full building assessment, because then we use that to be able to go out and get these grant dollars. And so we've got all the projects lined up. It was broken into 3 ready to go phases, and we've completed the first one of that. And then the second one would be to do the rest of the walls, and then we'll be looking at the roof to do that as well. After the envelope is secured, then we will be pursuing interior work such as mural restoration.
Mm-hmm.
And we did have an art restoration person in to look at those at the beginning of the project. And that's besides some of the water damage, they're very dirty.
Right. Be similar to what they did at the Capitol.
Right. Yeah, it'll be pretty intense in there. But that's on our list. It takes an incredible amount of time to walk these projects through the grant process, particularly through the state historical society. But the money's there, and we will continue to utilize that.
You
But-
talked about security. The stage doors are gonna be replaced?
Yeah, the doors are in.
They're in.
So it should just be lining up with Blake Jasper's gonna
Put 'em in?
install those.
Okay.
They're ready to go.
Good.
Yes, yes.
We couldn't use them last night, so I know that they're not working.
Around here somewhere, they must not be hanging yet. I'll have to get with Mark about that and see where we are on that project.
The other question I had was, you have a lot of stuff in storage. Where is it in storage? All in your building or?
It is all in our property,
It's all in
all in
the
our
property.
property. So
Oh.
we store the majority of our artifacts on the 3rd floor of the museum building. And then we have also been able to expand into the 3rd floor of the Ferris Grand building. That is not ideal because it is not a fully climate controlled building. There is no air conditioning up there. So that is also something that we are trying to line up is a HVAC renovation of that building because there is no air conditioning. And then, of course, the 4 furnaces in the museum building itself are artifacts.
You mentioned your intern then. Will that evolve into a full-time employee from that particular person? That's kind of nice with interns. You get a chance to build a relationship.
Oh,
with them.
yes, yes. And I believe she felt her time there was very well served as well. And we were able to offer a paid internship and get that done. We have 3 staff members, and there's 1 full-time and 2 part-time staff persons. And it is actually a goal to be able to employ the part-time people. And we really could use a 4th employee with all of our properties and programming that's going on, but we are working up to that. One thing we really, the board is looking at lining up for the 2026 budget is to be able to offer employee benefits, because we do not have health insurance or anything like that right now. And of course, to replace anybody, that is something that the Historical Society is going to need to be offering. Yeah, I'd love to hire that intern.
That'd be great. That's the real nice thing about those programs. You really get to know a person well and they fit.
Right.
Any other questions for Susan? Comments?
Just a comment, I'm just looking forward to getting that newspaper stuff online.
Yes,
That'd be awesome.
it's a very exciting project.
Mhm.
It's not, I think I mentioned, currently available anywhere, and we do have people that contact us, but we have research fees.
Mhm.
But it ties up staff time to sit there and read the paper when you can just, and they're not searchable right now.
Right.
Yeah. Very exciting.
I know I use some of those pay sites.
Yep.
And yeah, they were,
Pipestone's not on there.
no. But I like the fact that yours will be free to the public.
Yes. That's really important to us, because that's why we're here.
Similar to our Arca Search project where we digitized all of our minutes and it's all on our website.
Yes.
Anybody can look at those at any time they want now,
It
the old
is.
stuff. It's
Right.
nice to have that. People want.
I have handed to you our 2003 annual report. We stepped that up quite a bit so that we can share what we're accomplishing.
And hopefully you can get some grant money to get those other exterior projects done before much more damage occurs.
Right. But as you know, it's just such a process,
It is
but we're in it.
burdensome, but yeah.
It's
We're in the roof process for this building, so we understand all how that goes, so,
definitely, it is nice to have that money available though.
but you gotta keep things dry too, you know.
Well, water is best outdoors.
Best outdoors and in your cup, right? Anything else for Susan? Well, thank you for coming.
All
and,
right.
letting us know what's happening at the museum.
Anytime I'm available to come down here and talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're gonna recess till 10:30, or you got something small to take care of? See you.
We could do on the back page, we could talk about the 2025 funding
Okay.
for Southwest Crisis Center. Requested that on there. We can do that Minnesota West as well too, and then we take a quick break.
Okay. Southwest Crisis Center, who's presenting for that?
Doug, do you have any info on
I
that?
can
We
just say
talked about
why I brought it up, I guess. Last year they did a presentation to us and we were kind of, I think, too far along into the budget to probably do anything with it. Seems like a very good cause. Wanted to bring it up and have some discussion if we can get anything in the budget for it or move things around a little bit, maybe by not adding to the budget, but using some other funds that are already in the budget. So want to get everybody's thoughts, or if we should do anything or not.
Refresh my memory, how large of a group do they serve?
Oh, they're out of Worthington, Nobles Rock, Pipestone, Cottonwood, Jackson. And, provide support, advocacy, and, hope to individuals and families impacted by sexual and domestic violence, sexual exploitation and child abuse. You know, I remember them
Yeah.
doing the presentation,
I
but
do.
I just think it's a very good
Is that,
program that they do, and
is that a private program or is it a government program?
don't know that.
Sorry.
It's a nonprofit for health services. The county has funded it in years past, but back in the probably early
09.
09, it's been a while since they've gotten
09
any
and
funding from the
in
county. I think
2013.
budget constricts pretty much did
And
that.
the latest was 2015.
Right.
Steve looked this up for me. We did $393 for a program at the school.
And that went through the probation department budget for education to students on that one. But as far as an actual appropriation, 2015, I think was the last
Yes,
time.
that was 2,200.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yep.
They do come annually and give us a report as well, so we are involved in it. We just board hasn't chosen to fund it.
I agree with Doug. I think it's a very good, and purpose and for them, I would like to do. Have in the past
Mhm.
and budget is any flush than it's been before, but still it's a good purpose and
Well, and whether it be, 500 or 1,000,
Yeah.
just to help them do their programs. So,
you just put that as a placeholder, Steve.
Sure.
You got a spot in our current budget, you said that.
Yeah, we have a line item for them under 701 department. Where our Southwest Health Partnership come out of Southwest Minnesota Foundation, Workforce Council, those items are in that budget as well. So there's a specific of the 6972, so.
We don't need to take specific action now, but we just put it in as a line item, so we approve the
Sure.
budget, we can. At that point, we take action on it.
I can, if you'd like, I'll put in $1,000 in there, that'd be appropriate.
that's probably a good number.
To show that we do recognize, and appreciate the work that they're doing.
Okay. I'll
That's
take
for
care of that.
information.
Yep, I'll take care of that. Next one, Chairman and board members, I received a letter, you've got it in your packet as well, from Minnesota West. They're offering sale, if you can't look at it, it's the old, I believe it's the Rock Island right of way, 100 feet wide and about 1,700 feet long, for sale. They sent it to me, I brought it out. I didn't believe the county had any needs for that property, but I wanted to do due diligence and let the board see what was going on. It's the monument property surrounds most of it at this point, matter of fact, pretty much all of it, so.
So the land on both sides of that red stripe is monument
Yes,
property.
That'd be a good place for it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
For access and things like that. It doesn't look like there's any way to access it otherwise, even if we did buy it.
no,
The narrow strip, what would you do with it?
I just wanted to bring it to the board and just for information, also so the media would see what's going on as well. So it's 3.89 acres and I didn't think we had any need for it, but if you'd like me just to let the
Let them know.
Barry Galswick know that the county has no interest in the property.
Correct. That sounds good to me. Any other comments? Thanks, but no thanks.
That'll work. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a 10-minute recess. We're back in session. Next visitor is Megan DeShepper with Minnesota DOT. You want to come up with your posse and introduce yourselves?
Morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Pipestone.
Thank you. So as I said, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm Megan DeShepper. I'm the District 8 Planning Director out of Wilmer, but we handle the 12 counties here in Southwest Minnesota. And I did bring some people with me today. I'll let
Yes.
Kelly introduce herself.
I'm Kelly Bronkhorst. I am the new district engineer in District
Great.
8. And John Hughesby retired in the middle of August and I took over for him. So I'm fairly new to the district engineer role, but I've been with District 8 for about 24 years, more in the construction side of our business.
Are you out of Hutchinson?
I am out of Hutchinson. I actually have offices in Marshall, Wilmer, and Hutchinson.
Okay.
I spend kind of 2 days a week in Hutchinson, 2 to 3 days a week in Wilmer, and 2 to 3 days a month in Marshall. That's kind of the plan.
Okay.
So moving forward anyway, we'll see how it works out, right?
Yeah.
Great, glad to have
And
you.
so. Great.
And then I also have,
Tracy Schnell, I'm the new district principal planner. Prior to that, I was new to DA.
these ladies know more than I do, so. So I think in your packets, you should have a chip map, which is our 10-year plan. Also included a county specific map that kind of blows just your county so you can see better the project list. Okay, and I'll share it with the ladies too, just so they have a copy. And some folks like paper, some people have it on there. I didn't know how your board operated, so okay. But I have extra copies if anybody would like more. I'm just gonna go through the projects that are happening in the next 10 years in your county and please interject as they come up. So just a reminder, MnDOT has a program called the Area Transportation Improvement Program. That's our first 4 years of that map that you have there. And those projects are scoped. We fund them. We know the limits, the type of fix, all those things. Whereas the outer years, which are those last 6 years, so 2025 through 2028, those are more fluid. Those we certainly don't have the funding secured for yet. We may not know the fix of the project. Even the project limits can sometimes change. So those are much more fluid, and especially the way our funding has been going lately, they move around more than you would expect. So those first 4 years are pretty set. Those outer years, they might be different next year when we come and share with you guys. So I'll just go through each year. Our first year is in 2026, so that would be orange on your map. And that's the Highway 75 project. So this is south of Pipestone. It's just 0.12 miles south of CASA 9, all the way down to County Road 57. And that's a U-Bowl project. So that last year we called it white topping. It's just another terminology of a thick concrete fix.
Unbonded concrete overlay.
Yes.
The U-Ball part is.
How thick was that gonna be? How thick was that gonna be?
Don't know.
They usually run about 7 inches.
7 inches?
Yeah,
Okay.
I couldn't swear to that on this particular project, but they usually run about 7 inches.
So they're gonna mill it down that
Fill up
far?
some of the bituminous.
Some of it?
Yep, then some of it's left as a platform. And then we pave on top of it.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the thickest fix that we do.
Yes.
So this is
Yeah.
a bigger project.
That's correct. Correct.
Yeah, that's been cornered our sides for the last few years, is Highway 75. Not only from Pipestone to your end of your district, but from your district to Laverne also.
Yeah, and I believe District 7 does have a project
For
too. I'm
next year.
not sure the year though. It could be next year. I am.
At one time, that's what we heard, that that one was gonna be next year and this one was gonna be 26, so.
We can coordinate and get back to you on finding
Yep.
out what District
We can do
7's
that.
gonna do, so.
If you would do that, please.
Absolutely.
Mhm. And so that's the project in 2026. Then we have one down in 2029, so that would be yellow on the map. On Highway 30, we have a medium mill and overlay, and that's from the South Dakota border all the way to 8th Avenue in Pipestone. And then we also have another project on 75, and so that's the portion that's kind of in town in Pipestone from 91st Street or County Road 34 to Highway 30 in Pipestone. And that's also a U-Bowl. They separated out that in-town portion and pushed it back a couple of years because we're checking to see what kind of pedestrian improvements and more of a complete street look on that in-town portion. So that's how it got separated from the rest of the project. Go ahead, Lou.
At one time, there was talk about doing some kind of flasher lights at the border. Is that not happening anymore?
I think that's been removed. Some of the technology on those flashers, if one of them would have went out, they all would have gone out.
Okay,
And so our traffic engineer, I believe, came up with kind of just a different chevron, not a flashing, just a static system. So that project has been removed from the plan.
okay, that's fine. Just wasn't really sure that it was a good use of money regardless, but
I think that was kind of his questioning too, and some of the technology didn't seem like the best
sure,
bang for the buck.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think they're gonna actually pave a little bit of I'm not an engineer, but some of the curving to make it a little
Yep, we'll,
skewing.
yes, we'll review the super elevations and the
Yes.
paving, and then usually what we do on the outer edges of those curves is we end up paving a little bit wider.
Oh, sure,
So everything can bank nice,
nice.
so.
Megan, you referred
sir.
to this in-town part of the pedestrian area. Was it last year, or the year before you did that experiment with the little islands and so forth, pedestrian islands? What have you decided about those going forward?
So those were further north on 75. Those were more in the main town. This is like south of 30, so it's a
Yeah, but
different
this is the
portion.
part right in town.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was that's called a demonstration project. So that's something we did with the city to help them kind of decide what kind of curbing or crossing would work better, but I don't think there's any funding for them to put those in at this time. And we don't have a project in that portion of Pipestone at this time. So it's just something to keep on the radar as grants are available and that sort of thing.
What was the general results of that trial project?
Neither one was very positive from the public standpoint. I think, so we have these visual bollards
Yes.
show where the curbing would be, but a lot of people have a hard time thinking that that's just
Visualizing
a
that.
curb.
Yeah.
Right, they're thinking there's gonna be these big posts sticking up. So there was a lot of comments that it would be hard to plow, it might be hard to get some of the ag equipment through there. So in general, the comments weren't super positive, but I think it's that visualization and it's almost an education of this is just how it's looking now, that it would just be a curb. It wouldn't actually look like that. So I think the city in general is thinking something maybe further north by the trailhead is where it's most needed.
Right.
So I don't know where I haven't talked to Deb on that specific to see what their plan is moving forward.
Okay. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, the next project is out in, let's see, 2030, so that would be purple on your map. On Highway 30, a half a mile east of US 59 to the Murray Cottonwood County line is a reclaim and overlay project. And then they're also gonna be replacing a bridge over the Des Moines River there. And then that same year, another project on Highway 30 from US 75 in Pipestone east all the way to Lake Wilson on 60th Avenue. And so that's a thin overlay. And then they're also gonna be doing ADA improvements in Lake Wilson on the sidewalk there. And those are our projects in 2030. Next, if you go to 2031, so that's kind of the maroon color on your map. Excuse me. On Highway 75, we have a cold in place recycle and overlay, and that's from the Pipestone Creek Bridge up to the South Valley Street by Lake Benton. And then in 2033, so that would be light green on your map, we're replacing a couple of bridges on Highway 30. And they're 3.5 miles west of the Pipestone Murray County line there. They're 2 big box culverts, I believe. And so those are all the projects in the next 10 years that we have planned in your county. Are there any other questions or comments?
I have a question about the signage.
Okay.
That about 2 months ago, I read an article in the Minneapolis Tribune about they're gonna replace the signs and put new ones up. Okay, that was fine. And they came and took out the signs, but we haven't seen any new ones yet. The signage all the way from the end of your, which is about my farm,
Okay.
all the way up to Verdi, there's no signs anymore. No sign for Edgerton, no sign for Trossie, no sign for Verdi, no sign for Holland, no sign. They took them all out
Is on 75.
on 75. Are they gonna bring us new ones, or are they just gonna take them out and leave them?
I know we did have signed contracts on that. They should all be replaced.
I don't know if they're replacing all of those. I think that's, we have a traffic engineer, Cody Brand is our traffic engineer. I would like to consult with him. I know some of the smaller town signs weren't gonna be replaced.
They're not?
No, some of them,
Why
but I
did
don't
they
know
take
about
them out?
all of them.
Why did they take them out then? Were they a traffic hazard or what?
I don't think they were a traffic hazard. I think they reached the end of their life for reflectivity.
But it's better than nothing.
Let me,
Yeah,
I
we
don't
have
know.
to, I'm
I
not
will
sure either.
appreciate that, because I've been getting a lot of flack about that.
Sure.
And I know sometimes it has to do with the population community and if they're incorporated or not,
Well,
too, about signage. So I'm just.
These are all
conjecture here.
incorporated communities though, and
Okay,
I mean, for visitors that don't know where they're located,
Yep, that's
you know,
hard.
they're driving past and ended up in the wrong city or whatever.
sure, yeah.
and
I-
going to Lake Benton instead of turning by Verdi, somebody said.
Right, or to go to Ward or,
Yeah.
yeah, different towns.
Get back to Steve and Nick and.
If you would
let
do
me
that,
know.
please,
Yeah,
because
I just don't know the details of that at all.
I've been getting a lot of questions about that.
Sure. Yep, I just know they had a replacement contract.
Right, and I don't know, like I said, I think there's some that they weren't planning to replace, but we'll discuss that with our traffic engineer, what the rationale is behind that. And what I'm hearing from you guys is that's a wayfinder for people.
It is.
Well, and even one for Blue Mountain State Park is gone.
Oh,
I think that's being replaced though, that we've been talking with the park.
You know about that one at
Yeah,
least.
so that's a specific service sign. That one I know about. I'm sure that one, they pay for that. So there's a situation where they have to update their payment for it. So I
Our community is gonna have to pay for the signs?
think so. And those ones, no. but
make
a
it happen?
specific Service sign. I don't believe so, no.
I know signs are expensive, but
The parks, what was the name of the park again?
Blue Mountain State
Oh,
Park.
yeah, it's okay. I'm sure I heard about that one because that call came in actually to my office and I was like, why aren't we replacing that sign? And they said it was missed so the park has to update their application is what they had to do. So,
There's the Split Rock Creek Park also in town, that side.
Yeah. But the problem is just confined to Highway 75 in our county. I don't know if they were why they took them out if they weren't gonna replace them.
that's the corridor that they replace signs on, so that's why it's on 75, so. Yeah, we'll check with Cody.
I know 23 is getting a lot of more attention than 75 is lately. And I understand that. That's an angled road going whatever. That's pretty much your main road through your territory, correct?
one of our main ones, but we don't forget the others.
Yeah.
Well, our
On there.
list.
We kind of feel neglected back in that down in the back corner here.
And you said that Cody is the individual responsible for that?
Cody Brand is our traffic engineer.
And if there is an issue with it, could he possibly come and address his group as well too?
Yeah, that's a possibility,
That'd be
for
great.
sure.
Any other questions, comments for Megan? We appreciate the fact that 75 is on your plan at least. A couple years ago, when I first started here, it wasn't on the 10-year plan even. So
Which 23 would have got that treatment. The concrete overlay versus 2-inch mill and overlay. Cause I think in 4 or 5 years, we're gonna be talking about it again, cause it's in my mind, how long it's gonna last.
they're gonna wear it out by the when they're done doing it. There are many
Right.
trucks is just going past.
Exactly.
And they're all going down 75 and wrecking that some more. They're fixing
A
23.
lot of traffic out there. I came through there today.
Yeah.
Traffic out there.
So you came from the south?
I came from the north and,
Yeah.
and came down and then across on the county road and just in that county road 8 is traffic.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of people wayfinding their own way.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
some of the recommended detours are not followed.
correct.
That's human nature, I guess.
Yeah, everyone's trying to find the shortcut, right?
Well, now that the bridge is replaced right north of town, the trucks are going on gravel to get to where they gotta go. The tar trucks anyway. Anything else? Anybody wants to?
Nice to meet you all.
Yes, thanks for coming.
No
And,
problem. We
Appreciate you
appreciate
being here.
having us down.
forget our corner of the state.
Thank you, and I will get back with some of these questions.
Okay.
I'll let Steve and Nick know.
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys.
Now Jody.
Good morning, Jody.
Hi, Jody.
More swag.
Thank you.
Well, we got a pretty nice museum one. So
Thank you.
All right. First, I want to say thank you very much for and the support that you provided our libraries in our county. It really went a long way in keeping us afloat and providing good service to our community as we moved through our remodel. And hopefully we're just about on the other side of that right now. So very much. I appreciate that. That said, we are just kind of figuring out now who we are in our new space. And so I kind of gave you a little resume so that you can kind of see what we've been doing and where we want to go. And I know that as I say this, even with us trying to figure out who we are and where we're going, I know Edgerton is also in that same spot now with a new director over there. And so our county-wide library systems are kind of in a really fun and unique position to move forward and create new and exciting things. So if you just take a peek at this, Minders Library, we are really steadfast in our mission statement, which is that Minders Community Library provides programming, interactive experiences, and a variety of resources to all our patrons. That is where your funding to us comes in. We were able this year to continue purchasing fantastic materials we, as a matter of fact, added through a grant, but our hope is that we can continue it in the future, is Mango Languages. That is something for our community to be able to have a language learning platform is really important on there. Is I believe they have over 70 languages. We did ASL, so American Sign Language. If I know we have some patrons who are in the deaf community. And also we did a little PIM subscription, and that is for our youngest learners. And so we're really trying to help our community be able to communicate and interact with each other better. And so that's one of the things that's really important to us. Programming, I can't even tell you how robust our programming is. I did give you one of the sheets here. The one that just looks like a lot of statistics, volunteer hours, programming spaces. That one on there, our programming, when I started in 2015, Minders Library had 14 programs during 2015, and I started in late September. 158 people that we served that year. So far this year, we have over 109 adult programs and 163 programs for our youth. So our youth, we've hit 1,931 participants, and our adults and youth, some of that numbers in there, our family programming, we have tackled, or we have had 6,513 people who have attended on some level or engaged on some level with our programs. So we have grown tremendously. And in our new space, we're just in a really good spot. We have a really nice location. If I had a nickel for every bicycle that came to our library or people who walked to us, I probably wouldn't have to sit here and ask a bit more money right now. That's how close and accessible we are to people. And it's really lovely to see.
Back in the city center is a good thing, isn't it?
Such a good
One thing
thing.
that strikes me on here is the summer reading, the 208 participants in the summer reading. That's great for
Yes.
kids
Yes.
to keep learning in the summertime, keep reading.
It is fantastic. And we actually, I don't know if it's because Main Street is under construction right now, or if it's because I asked the right people, but we have a bus that stops outside of our library right now. And so kids get off the bus. We get to see these lovely children just fly off the school bus at the end of the day. And a small percentage of those kids come in and they know where we are. And that's really nice. So we're hoping as school gets going that those kids will get off the bus and more will start coming into our library to come to our programs.
You can thank Dan and I for that. So
Was it you?
So-
I really appreciate that because it is fantastic to have
Ever get
that.
this town route too, we'll have a stop at the library also.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's really nice.
We're doing our part, so.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so that's where we're at. If you see on the bottom of this blue, our little resume here, you can see our goals and what we want to do in 2025. We have been doing a little assessing, and our active patron base, and by active, that statistic is pulled from Koha, and that is people who have checked in or checked out books in a date range that we provide. And right now, year to date, we are at 39% of our active, or of our patrons are active patrons. And we'd really like to see that bump up. Our 2-year active patron use is at 938. So it's about 64% of our patrons are active patrons over a 2-year period. We'd like to see that in a 1-year period. So coming up in 2025, that is our, one of our goals is to increase our active patron base up to 75% of our patrons.
Electronic hits.
No, right now, those are only, the data we have is only based on the check-in and check-out through Koha, which if you go down to the bottom of that define patron library use, we gave ourselves a 1 out of 10. There are 10, we we are not doing a really great job of understanding exactly who our patrons are and how they use our library. So we have our digital collection, which is not included in that active patron base, and we have our physical collection. And then we have people who are in-house users who just come in and hang out and sit down and read the newspaper or talk with other people or they're not there to check out materials necessarily. They're not there for a program, but they're coming in and it's too hot outside and I don't have air conditioning at home, so we're just going to hang out right here. Our in-house use. There's how do people use our space? We'd like to define how people are using our spaces. That is one of our data points we do collect is so far this year, we've had 139 uses of our rentals, or not rental, but of our reservation spaces. So our conference room and our steam room. So, but how many people is that? We don't keep track of how many people use that. How many of those people also check out materials, or are you only there for specific reasons? So one of our goals is really to define how people use our library, because that's the only way we'll know how we can better serve them. And then we'd also like to expand our outreach. And outreach for us are things such as like our senior center. We're now working with our senior center. We go into, or will be going into the senior center and providing them with activities to do. And so one of the things we do is we read at the senior like at Ridgeview and at, I think Good Sam are the two places right now. So we do a story time for them. Emily goes in and reads once a month. So that kind of outreach. And so we want to increase that as well. Those are our goals for 2025. One of the things that we do need, so we do have our budget on here, so you can kind of take a peek and see where we're at to budget. We're holding our own. We're doing a really good job thanks to support from our city and our county and some of our grants that we have received. Obviously, the Bob Minders family, I would be remiss in not saying that they have done a great thing in helping us get on our feet in our new space. But one of the things that we do need is new computers. That nice update on Windows 11 rendered all of our computers no longer able to do the updates. And so we need to replace all of our computers there. So that is one of the things we'll be looking at within our budget. That said, we're sitting in a really great space because of what you guys have provided us and what the city has provided us in funding. And so what I'm asking for, and I think this holds true for Edgerton because they're also in the same space of kind of figuring out where we're going. And I'm asking for a 3% increase in public library funding for 2025.
Have you communicated much with the library?
I have not had that opportunity yet. So that is, I'm assuming that he won't complain if he also gets a 3% increase. That's just my assumption at the moment.
And you share the funding with Edgerton Library, is that correct?
We do. So the
That's
funding
why you
that you
have
guys
stuff.
provide is split 60-40. So Minders Library gets 60% of that funding and Pipestone gets 40% of the funding.
That's why Edgerton didn't have a separate request either.
Right.
Is there anything Plum Creek can do for you?
Well, so Plum Creek doesn't, we do get grant funding. They do manage our legacy funding. So that's the arts and cultural heritage funding. They do manage that. We've grant funding through them for like programs and stuff. But in terms of like, they can't subsidize the libraries. They can't provide us with funding.
They have some programs available for you though, right?
They do, and that is, we use them very heavily, and Edgerton also has used them. And I know that Dina has done a great job of, tapping into grant money and looking for unique opportunities. And, that's something that we do at Minders Library. We recognize that a lot of times our programming funds actually come through grants. And so we really don't have that's not a big part of our budget because we tap into those resources for grants. As a matter of fact, we have a Teentober grant at Pipestone for $500 that will be tapping into for our teen programming in October. There's a craft grant that they do, Prairie Lands does every kind of end of the year, November-ish, December, and that's another $500. We'll tap into that. We used or received $1,000 for our teen summer reading program. That was $1,000, and we have a promotional grant for $500 that we're doing. And so we do a lot of grants so that we can subsidize some of that extra stuff that we do.
Susan Hoskins from the Historical Society was in earlier as well too, and she gave us an update on their project to digitize newspapers. You're up to speed on that as well too. That sounds very exciting.
Yeah, you actually, and the museum is considered to have a library, and so they are a library as well. So the school librarian, the county museum, and then Minder's library, we get together on a monthly basis. This summer's been a little bit lax, but on a monthly basis to collaborate and work together, and digitizing that, able to have our community reach more resources is really important.
And along with that collaboration, also guest speakers as well too. She talked about one of the guest speakers she came in. I know you've got a very aggressive, active program and bringing in some guest speakers. So
Yep.
appreciate all that collaboration as well too.
Well, we all have good resources. We might as well not reinvent the wheel every time. So, yeah. Yep.
Any
Just-
other questions or comments for Jody? Just appreciate the work you're doing.
Yep.
Yep.
Doing a great job.
Thank you.
Back in your small conference room,
Yes.
one of the resources that she put back there recently is all of the high school annuals. I enjoy pulling those off the shelf.
21.
Wow.
And just check out, I've seen lots of people in this community in those yearbooks.
In there too, aren't they?
Right?
Put them on Facebook. Look what I
I
found.
haven't done that.
Especially for those of
Idea
us,
though.
It is.
for those of us that aren't native to Pipestone, be able to pull it out and say, oh, I didn't know that this person maiden name was this, or they related to this person. That it's a.
And we actually have a lot of grandparents. It's really fun. We have a lot of grandparents that bring their grandkids in,
Yep.
and then they're like, oh, and look at, here I was.
Yeah, very
Cool.
Fun.
It is,
you know,
it's a
yeah.
fun collection.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What have we got left? Amanda? She come down?
Oh.
While we wait, if you'd like, we can start committee reports. You guys want?
We can do that. Chris is gonna start. He's gonna have to have a really long report.
Let me see if I can get it over. I can't get her on there.
You mentioned committee reports and we lost one already.
Yeah. Just say the word and they're gone out the door. We're not that boring, are we? Would you like me to?
Ready for that? or-
Well, no, Steve should be here for that. He writes them down.
Write some down, yeah, that's right.
He would not feel wanted if we start without it.
I learned sometime, right?
Well, you could do it at the same time. You can compare notes afterwards, see.
Talked about the Jody about bicyclers. My grandchildren were here a few weeks ago on a Saturday, so we jumped on the bikes and ran up the libraries. My little 9-year-old, he just went right straight in, and he'd never been in that building before. But he went right to the children's section, he picked out his book he wanted, just like that.
They've done a nice job with the remodel.
That mural that's something how that turned out.
Did that get freshened up already?
Yes, it did. Yeah,
Nice.
it wasn't in too bad a shape other than, a few
The
nail
nail
holes
holes
here
or
and there,
whatever.
but they got those all fixed,
Nice.
flawless.
The murals on the second or third floor of that building too are a treasure that we should
Bears Grand, yes.
Yes.
we should advertise more.
It's amazing the number of people that have no
No clue
idea
that
that
it's
it's
up
up there. Yeah. When they see it, they're just blown away.
They're
by it.
some of the nicest in the state.
You get a booklet? Here you go.
Yep.
This is what we're talking about. The third floor is was a Masonic lodge.
You'll be right down.
Long time it was the only way you could get up there had to be accompanied by a lodge member, so that's why it's a secret. Morning, Amanda. Hi. We're ahead of schedule. Is that okay?
Sounds good. It's good to be ahead instead of behind.
Got a good chairman. Got a good chairman. If he doesn't have to say it so himself. We have a page number?
16.
Yep. Let's start with auditor treasurer.
Okay.
043, please. That'd be great.
So kind of with all of my budgets, there's nothing in particular that sort of jumped out that's out of the norm, kind of just. So. Had some notes on, but I'm not exactly certain if we did it. Was the postage that it's. That we're gonna put that under.
Mhm.
Looks like what we did.
Yep.
Really, as far as auditor treasurer, that's the only notes that I have, that's something. Over the farm. If there's any.
Salary increases are already determined
So those were all numbers that.
and they're all in there?
Yeah, provided by
Okay.
administrator and stuff. Those, we don't have any.
Nope.
Changing.
Okay. Any other questions on auditor treasurer?
On the very top of the column, of course, your income, you talk about the aggregate tax, and I know we've talked about that in the past too. Whether or not there's anything that we can do to maybe tighten that up a little bit as far as compliance. And again, it's an enigma the way that's set up. Any ideas?
The fees are set by statute. We know that. You know, so it's just a matter of basically on the honor system that the
Reporting of it.
reporting of the haulers
Yeah.
provide the information to get it. So not like we have a station where they drive through or anything like that. So we don't have the opportunity to increase the tax.
No.
Or anything like that.
No, it's just the awareness of it, and I don't know if you want to say compliance or just the reporting of that, if, and maybe it is accurate.
Well, we've only been doing, I look back on the payment, we've only been doing it since 2016, so it hasn't been that many years yet, but we are getting something out of it anyway at this point.
And with compliance, we want to make sure it's equitable as well too. We don't want one operator following the exact letter of it and other people ignoring it. I don't mean to infer that we know people are ignoring it. I just don't.
Probably hard to send somebody out to check on private businesses.
Yeah,
You'd spend more
You
doing
would.
that than you get from the tax.
right.
This is just a small portion of the aggregate tax that goes to the auditor treasurer's office for doing the program.
Right.
You know, the actual aggregate tax.
Get split out. Right.
Let's move on then.
So then the other Department 40 is it's just kind of, and that one's and for the future, we will be having following again with
Yeah, Amanda and I just talked and we just chose 45,000 as a, we don't know what it's going to be yet, but figure we're gonna be in the ballpark with it. It's
Just curious, why did the current firm decline or? I see.
provided us a list of some people that we can reach out to.
But they're just dropping that line from their work.
Yeah, they're
Is this,
just not doing audits for Minnesota counties anymore.
is this a yearly audit or is this,
The annual,
it's not a special one?
no, it's, and just our annual audit.
We did
Just
a spe-
Minnesota they're dropping?
Audit requirements put on by the state are not very, don't work very well for their business plan. They might be doing that too, I don't know, but they have dropped.
I see.
No, yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they were just dropping Minnesota.
Option for it is to go back to the state to have them do the annual audit for us, and any idea what that cost would be?
No thanks.
Yeah, because that was,
Part of our
it's cost prohibitive when we.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's some companies around the area that we've been in contact with. Amanda has too, and I've talked to administrators around and few around here that's very common. Clifton Allen, I think, was one of them. Wasn't that the one? It was pretty, I think Rock uses them, Nobles, Lion, so. Clifton Davis, is that the one that I'm thinking of? Thank you. That's too many names.
they seem to be quite a few in this
Yeah.
area. I guess it wouldn't hurt for us to reach out with honestly how many they do anyway. Or on the list that I have too. I just have a tentative list. But if any of you have any contacts or anything, know other counties and find out who they use and get some contact info for us to send information to.
I think Prime West uses Clifton, Larson, Allen, don't they?
That's the firm's name before. Who did we use last year here? Bailey? I did. Wonder if they're gonna continue.
They do the hospital.
I was gonna say, are they gonna continue the hospital? They dropping us there too?
I don't know.
Not heard.
And you said you had 3? So that's-
And then the other is the election is 64. And so 2025 being an odd year, we generally don't have election year. So there's not a lot in the budget for that.
That's on the voting equipment, right? Maintenance on the
Yeah,
equipment,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have certain-
6343.
Certain fees that we have to pay every year, so.
Not much to cut there.
Oh,
Talked about, I've talked about as far as it. Talked about. Let's for. People in, I guess. Instead of paper rosters,
sheet.
it would just be an electronic roster, all that item is. Obviously pros and cons. So. We kind of just, at this point, we're waiting, possibly with the. Because then it would be. Quieter election year. And that sort of thing, it's a good one. Something on, but. Pros and cons to both, it's.
What would be
cost
some of the
worth it.
drawbacks? What are some of the drawbacks of the paper ones that we've been using?
So the difference for one thing would be. History, but obviously we have. To go in and record the voting history. Otherwise, if you have that full pad, it's electronic. Cost of. That.
And keeping it secure.
Just that. Part, where they're signed. So, normal process, the judges will be. Roster and having them sign. Receipt, the poll pad, they pull them up. And I mean, the one good thing with the poll pad is it's gonna find address issue. If someone is wrong precinct. It's gonna find it because it knows the addresses. There's not a clear cut. Right now, everything. Or work involved and less work on the backside, but there might be more work on the front side.
And we do know that there's a member of the population in this country that do not believe in anything electronic either, and I think that could possibly be an issue that would come up that, the various activities are happening because of electronic poll books and it's connected to the internet and whatever.
That's a real issue.
It is, it absolutely is. Don't deny it at all. It's.
Okay, anything else for Amanda? Thank you.
You.
Posting issue that all the departments use it. This doesn't seem to make sense to come out of her budget anymore. We'll just take it out of 003 and do it that way, and we'll still handle the maintenance and all that of the postage meter and all that, so. We're on what, third year on this one, I think? Be good for a couple more years anyway. Still a lot of postage goes out of here. Never know if it gets people. Okay, sometimes it doesn't, but at least it leaves here.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Got a hold of Kyle. He'll be up in a few minutes, so.
All right. Dan, you want to start?
Sure, I can do that. Ready for your reports. My meetings for the month of August. Of course, we started out with the Hospital Association Trustee Conference. On the August 5th, we had a finance meeting, and this was for the Southwest Health Human Services. Actually, it was hosted here. And they're working on obviously their budget proposal for the levy for this year too. And I think if I remember right, weren't we talking 6%? I think it's 6%. On the 6th, we had our drug-free coalition, alcohol coalition meeting. There have been some changes there as far as location, where our coordinator now is going to be working out of the Health and Human Services building here in town versus being actually out at the high school. On Wednesday, the 7th, then, we had our, this is the childcare RCCIP. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's the Pipestone Child Care Initiative. I'm trying to create and recognize our child care providers. On the 9th, we had our Southwest 18 Mental Health Consortium. And as you heard, we talked with May a little bit where they've got the bylaws now sent out for those to be approved. Then again, a lot of the individuals in 18 counties thought because of the 6-county coalition or not coalition, but the joint powers agreement that we just had the 2 representatives, but actually each county is represented. There's 2 counties that weren't because of that confusion. So that's being cleared up now. Also, the governance, and that's part of what this bylaws is going to be more in the area of the elected officials, whereas before part of that governance group of that Southwest 18 Mental Health Consortium was employees and also providers, where that was recognized as a not representation of the governance part of the elected officials. So that's being changed. They will still have the joint meetings with the providers, but they're not going to have a vote on how monies are spent like it had been in the past. On the 12th, Luke and I had our plant ops meeting at the hospital with Pete and Brad. On the 13th, we actually had that daycare provider appreciation supper that went again back to that RCCIP. On the 14th, I helped with the chamber with their fishing derby, not really county business, but certainly noteworthy. People certainly enjoy that. On the 15th, we did our canvassing board and for the primaries. Also, we had our Southwest CERTS, it's a community reinvestment, and that is part of our part of our Rural Minnesota Energy Board. Also, we had a meeting of the Veterans Committee for the Veterans Memorial. As you know, fundraising is going well on that. Tomorrow, there's going to be a drawing on the radio for that flag that we auctioned off. Rich Gergen did that beautiful wood carving of American flag. We sold tickets for to raise money. So we're hoping to be able to actually place the order for the stones very soon now. On the 27th, we had our regular meeting. Of course, we had hospital board. And also there was a meeting in regards to bicycles. And this is part of SRDC and a bicycle program where people can actually they're talking about having rental bikes like what the city had at one time. But they're looking into whether it's gonna be better to actually own the bikes or have a company come in and supply the bikes, take care of the maintenance on them and so forth and the rental. So that's just in the preliminary part. And that concludes my months for August.
Thank you.
For August, Minnesota Hospital Association meeting. Was, 1st and 2nd of August. On the 8th, Southwest. Soil and Water Conservation District on the 8th, 13th with the regular board meeting. On the 15th, did the Hospital Association advanced track training. The 21st, Southwest Health and Human Services. I don't know. I don't know if you understand that, the Murray County decided to withdraw from the opioid settlement with Health and Human Services. So that leaves, Murray and Lincoln not participating in the group. They're gonna do it on their own. 22nd, special budget meeting. Then the 27th, the regular board meeting here and the hospital regular board meeting. That's all I had.
Thank you. Luke?
On the 14th, had an MRC policy update for environment and natural resources. On the 15th, MRC policy update for public safety. On the 20th, went to an MPCA meeting regarding demo landfills. But they're not giving us much there other than a bunch of new regulations and not many
Still
solutions.
moving forward or?
Oh, yeah, they're still planning to shut them down and require everything to be lined and, but no funding available and, yeah, so not good answers there. On 22nd, 23rd at AMC Strategic Planning. Of course, after years of getting millions of dollars for counties through, COVID, ARPA money, opioid settlement, tax forfeiture. They're basically, looking for counties to provide some additional staff investments and mainly because since we don't want to lose people like Matt Hilgart, the salary range for AMC staff is like in the 70 to 85 range. For the League of Minnesota Cities, it's 115 to 135.
Hate to lose Matt.
Right, and I mean, they could get similar numbers from state agencies, metro counties, whatever. They're not asking for that type of raise all at once or anything, but I mean, it's gonna take some kind of a raise to keep people. And so I think they're looking at not only a percentage increase, but maybe a lump sum amount from counties just to get them more in line, because I mean, they have obviously tremendous staff. They've provided, gotten us millions of dollars in money in the last number of years. And for a few thousand more, it seems like a token gesture to keep those type of staff on board. On the 27th, of course, had the hospital board. On the 28th, had a Highway 23 projects meeting with MnDOT. There's a TED grant or whatever through the state. That app was due on the 9th yesterday, and they put that in. But more funding sources are going to be needed for the extending the 4-lane by Wilmer from 71 to that county road, where you can basically see the lanes in the grass there. But I mean, with all the additional just inflation combined with the additional environmental impact, costs that, the state's put on, I mean, that project has basically doubled in cost in last couple of years, it seems. And to me, it's unbelievable it can be up that much. But on the 29th, went to a MCIT land use issues training, which included some discussion of possible cannabis ordinance and whatnot, along with the standard other land use issues. On the fourth, I had a MRC executive meeting where we talked about extending Capitol Hill's contract for 2 years. We're planning to, recommend an increase, of course, since we have a staff of 4 now doing what Dan used to do by himself. And frankly, they're doing a lot better job and, everything's more professional. Membership's gone up by 1/3 since they started and, they've been pretty successful working with AMC to, get things for us and then I also had policy updates for general government and health and human services for MRC that same day. On the fifth, Area 2 and RCRCA met, pretty much just ongoing projects and they've been able to get some of their administrative and grant funding from the state, so. And then yesterday had planned ops again, and then one watershed, one plan for the Redwood River. They approved the draft land use narrative and reviewed draft priority issues. That's all I got.
Thank you. Kyle, you wanna jump in? I'll do my committee report later.
Just a couple things. I had sent out, the draft renewal of our landfill agreement with Lyon County, just to see if you guys had any concerns, questions. If there is, now would be the time to let them know. But basically, just a quick summary, it's a 10-year, agreement with them, that they'll reserve landfill space for our county, which is called CON. And then that they will reimburse us $5 per ton that goes into our solid waste account for solid waste related activities. And then Luke serves on the landfill committee, making recommendations on landfill tip fees, things like that. So pretty straightforward. The Lyon County attorney and others are reviewing this, so it's not final, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up and that it's coming due.
This agreement's pretty much in line with our existing agreement.
Yes,
is it
yeah.
not?
Yeah, so I don't expect any changes. I just wanted to keep everyone in the loop if you have concerns. I did also send it to Domain, have not heard anything back, so I'm assuming everything will be okay, then we'll come back and we debate for signature.
Right, because I think it's identical, isn't it? So,
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
do we need to act on this today or?
It's still a draft, so it's not final. So there may be changes, so we'll just wait and see. I'll bring it back at a later date.
Okay.
But it guarantees 10 years for us?
Is what?
It guarantees 10 years for us?
Yes, yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, their landfill's got
80 years.
plus years of landfill space available. Like Luke said, that's really unknown, or it may change a lot based on what happens with the demo.
Mhm.
So whether they open a separate cell for demo, or if ever people start paying a higher price for demo and put it into solid waste, it's kind of unknown what's gonna happen.
At least if we keep up our recycling stuff and don't have a great big increase in the amount of stuff we have.
Yeah, I was just working on our 10-year solid waste plan. Our projections from 10 years ago were that our landfill tonnages were gonna be around less than 4,000 tons per year from Pipestone. And they've actually increased over the last 10 years. We're closer to 6,500. So
even with recycling more, we still have more garbage.
yes.
And
Yeah,
less
it varies
people.
A lot from year to year, so.
Yeah, and fewer people.
Amazon boxes.
Should be recycled, I would hope.
What's that about?
A lot of people don't.
So yeah, these
Generate
plans are
garbage.
good, but they're a projection that's
will.
kind of unknown. The other thing I've got is a proposal, a project estimate from Pro West for a public land survey corner view and corner documentation integration. This project would take the corner sections throughout the county, link them with the recorded documents that'll be happening with the new corners that are being created, and then make it available online for public viewing. So this was part of our grant application. I budgeted 33,500 for the GIS portion of this. So this estimate is for 21,709 if we want to move forward with that to happen with Pro West.
And this will be covered by the grant.
Yes, this will be part of that grant application of the 300,000 that we received.
I'd move to approve that.
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Any other discussion?
Then again, understand the grant covers 100% of it.
Right. Yep.
And I suppose that if we're getting information out there, it's have a way to access it is,
Right, it'll make it much easier, so if and when we get new monies in the future, this project will be there and it'll just be a matter of linking things, so all of the setup work will be done.
any other questions?
And this is available to the public as well.
It will be on the county, through the county website,
Yep.
through the GIS link,
Perfect.
yes. Yeah, that's a condition of the grant. Yep.
Good.
Any other questions for Kyle? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That carried.
That's all I've got.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in early.
Yep.
Nelson's making you wait longer than you have to. You got new glasses too, didn't you?
I did. Much better. My other ones were about 7 years old and I was getting to the point where I'm getting a neck ache looking on the screen, so.
What do we got left? Just my committee report?
Yep.
August 1, 2 is at the MHA conference in Breezy Point. August 13, regular meeting. August 19, canvassing board. That is important step in the election process. It's two commissioners and the mayor of the biggest city in the area and court administrator and where's Amanda was there. August 20, MHA fast track. August 21 is UCAP, the buses. We have 3 new buses and that's a good thing. 2 buses came at one time and the third bus went someplace and that one's having trouble. So we got the 2 good out of the 3. One thing they did discuss at that meeting was a new building. It's not imminent, but it's on the horizon, I guess, and would not be at the same spot. It would be
I think they're looking at 27 maybe for it.
27, is
Yeah.
that within a year?
Be the earliest for it.
But that would not be our problem, right?
No.
They finance it? and
No,
stuff?
the property then would revert right back to us. We own it anyway, so they're just using it.
Yeah, I
Which
understand.
meant regarding the new building.
But the new one, we-
Being expensive.
No, it's not our cost. It's,
Not our
that's
cost.
UCAP's expense
Yeah, so
through
that's,
state, federal grant.
Yeah.
We're
so
looking at a parcel to the, out by our social
Dental.
services building behind
Dental.
that somewhere. On city property.
and I said, more power to them if it doesn't cost us anything. Also on 21st, we had the Plum Creek meeting in Slayton. Plum Creek does a lot for Elizabeth. Elizabeth is in charge of that, and she's been a great addition in the last couple of years since I've been on. And I'm trying to keep her, that's how it goes. You get good people and you want to keep them, so. And 22nd was a budget meeting, 27th was a regular meeting and the hospital board meeting. And that's my report.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I skipped one of mine, and that was my smock report from the 19th.
Okay,
And we do have an opening now for another community liaison person, Mary Lewis Washington, had been that representative, but she moved up to the metro.
any other business coming before this board?
Adjourned, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there a support?
There is.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all.
I have one small announcement that you're sure recording shut off?
No, stand by.